Hey, Deb and Colin.
I believe we are live on Facebook. Rick is coming back in. We have the most solid core crew. We have the very lifelike yet very much cartoon depictions of Rick and myself behind Deb again for another week.
Yeah, this is my permanent logo. I might even switch my Young's Organic Garden logo to this. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, whoever gets that one and uses it for something will benefit us.
I'd like a list of those names of people who are giving you positive feedback.
Okay, yeah,
so there's a lot of stuff going on,
Jim, but I don't know.
I've been consumed with the store opening up, and I am on location in Lansing right now, and we'll walk around and do a little tour of the retail space with some stock in it and some people walking around, and it actually up and running for the first time today. It's really cool over here actually, and we'll show that off a little bit. We do have a couple of guests coming on later on. We'll get back to some politics. I really liked last week's show a lot. There's some really interesting stuff there, and get back to some of that kind of conversation and have Tiffany back on in the future.
Yeah, she was great.
Definitely, yeah, that was pretty cool. Rick too on the 420 Post with Mike Brennan had Director Brisboe on, and a lot of interesting stuff came out about that. And one thing that caught my eye that Rick has put out there is the reality that curbside service is not likely to be going away, and that possible or likely maybe expansion to incorporating drive-through where applicable could be brought on board again. And there's probably some other interesting shit. So like maybe talk about that and some other tidbits that came out of that conversation, because it sounded like it was pretty interesting and revealed a lot of important up-to-date stuff of the thinking of the department right now. And there was another bill that was passed in Congress, and that was for research. And what that basically does, and that's going to be another one that doesn't get picked up by the Senate and actually turn into law, but it is kind of cool and worthy of talking about, and we touched on it on Medical Mondays last night a little bit. It would allow researchers to utilize products that are for sale in commercial markets in legal states. So the actual things that people are using could be the basis for the products that are used for research, and that would make sense. And that would expand from the one strain that gets offered out of Mississippi right now, which may be up to 3 or 4 strains that are being grown for it now, because they did decide to increase it at one point, but kind of too little too late in that discussion. So this would help solve that issue. That's pretty cool. So we're going to hear from Ryan Basore, who was in the store earlier today, and he obviously has his line of redemption products in here, and there's some other stuff going on. And Zahra Abbas, good friend of this show. We're just joined by Berg from Medical Mondays. Just brought up Medical Mondays, and Berg pops on. That's how that works. That's why they haven't been on for a while. I talked about Medical Mondays earlier on in the show. Zahra Abbas, who does like a little bit of everything, it seems. Maybe we'll have her run down her list of all of the organizations and groups and things that she's involved with in which she maintains a high-level position. She's either runs things as the chair, director, co-director, vice chair of like all these different organizations.
Secretary,
yeah,
media presence.
Yeah. If there's enough time, we'll have her run down that entire list. But she and Liano, Sharon, who's also been on the show a few times discussing a lot of political progressive issues and certain political scenarios and that type of thing. They both won something or other, a delegation within the Democratic Party, maybe. I'm not sure exactly how to explain it, but I'm sure they will. And that's the most recent thing that Zahra is doing now. So we'll talk about whatever that is, because I don't want to not explain it correctly. And maybe the rest of the stuff that Zahra's up to, just for out of interest in determining what her schedule looks like. So You know, and when it comes to like spinning something around today, I guess I'm not prepared to ask a single question. I guess if anybody has anything they want to offer or want to get into, anything pertinent or not pertinent, let's spin that around. I apologize for not being as meticulously organized as usual, but I don't really have anything off the top of my brain that I need other weeks to know from everybody. So
Well, we'll live without
throw
the
one
top
out.
of your brain today.
Yeah,
We'll
throw
live
one
with
out.
we'll live without the top of your brain today. One thing
Easier
I'd like to
said than
talk
done.
about is Jamie Lowell's awesome hat, that White Panther hat. Isn't that great? Yep.
Yeah.
Gift from John Sinclair, fantastic stuff. I guess let's talk about gifting. Let's talk about some of the rights that we have as cannabis patients given to us by the MRTMA. We have fantastic possession limits. We have fantastic cultivation rights. We have fantastic gifting privileges. When I talked to Director Brisboe last Wednesday on the other program on 420 Post, I asked him about standardizing programs because as part of the new Cannabis Regulators Association, one of the things they said they wanted to do would be to standardize programs across all states to make it easier for everybody to communicate. Well, to me, coming from the land of plenty as we are in Michigan, that might indicate us dumbing our system down in order to reach the level that other states around us have decided to give them their people. So I specifically said, hey, cultivation, possession. He's like, no, we're not talking about any of those things. We're talking about trying to harmonize social equity programs and some of the other things too. But curiously, he didn't say they were never going to talk about it. So this is one of the things where we have some amazing things here in Michigan, but we have to safeguard. We have to shepherd the program. We have to watch it. You never know in what form change is going to take place because the people architecting change are very devious indeed. Let's talk to Deborah Young. Deborah, with the awesome background, what would you like to throw around in this discussion time today?
You know, I'm kind of like with Jamie. I haven't given anything a lot of thought. I'm kind of in the middle of harvest. Kind of off topic. Apparently, there's a vaccine out. So is anybody, I know a few weeks ago, we kind of went over who was going to take a vaccine and who was going to wait and see. Has anybody changed their mind on that?
Medical Monday question last night too, that became pretty interesting.
I don't think any of us are going to be eligible until, in the last wave of the vaccines. Even I'm not going to be eligible. Senior citizen cutoff is 65, and believe it or not, I'm just under that. So I think we're all going to be waiting around until like spring or summer. But has anybody changed their mind? Is anybody going back on what they had originally said? I'm kind of curious because now I'm antsy. Now I'm thinking, damn, I got to get this damn vaccine so I can get the fuck out of my house. This is ridiculous already.
As long as it's approved under the channels at which everybody else is taking it, I will take it. I mean, I understand some of the concerns, and it is a weird situation for sure, but I'm taking it.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking it. There's not any question in my mind. I'm taking it because this is just outrageous. What are we, 9 months into this? And I literally have almost not left my house. So yeah, I'm for it. What about you, Colin?
For it.
He's taking it. Colin's got his arm rolled up and ready to go. He's got a portal on his shoulder. They're just going to have to inject a little thing in there.
He's preparing. So yeah. A description. Wait a second. A description of the actual act doesn't do it for Rick, just so people know.
Okay. Well,
don't necessarily talk about it.
Where people were going to be able to buy their way into a vaccine who are not on the eligibility level they should be. So they have money, they're going to be able to buy one, or they belong to some kind of designer doctor who's going to be able to get them vaccines. Do you think that's really going to come down?
I think they're controlling the distribution so tightly, I don't see how it could be. I mean, literally every dose is being accounted for.
Well, they were talking about professional athletes being vaccinated. Like my husband was talking about the NFL, or not the NFL, the NHL was talking about they were going to get all their players back. How would they move ahead of everybody? What about the president? I mean, I heard him say, Trump say he was going to get one. How does he move ahead? Hasn't he already had the virus?
The testing was very limited for a while too. Yet in those types of arenas, they somehow managed to arrange to have them regularly.
They sure did,
like that too.
And they had the rapid tests that the rest of the people couldn't get. So I'm just curious because I think that's gonna really enrage me if I am sitting here and a lot of these professional people and rich people and things like they've been out and about, they've been doing their things, they're hanging out on their yacht, whatever, and I've been stuck in the house for 9 months and they're going to jump ahead of us on the line. That's going to piss me off.
I did watch New York Mayor Bill de Blasio this morning talk about the COVID-19 vaccine and frontline workers, and they said, when are you going to get the virus? He says, when it's my turn. He said, March, April, whenever my demographic gets assigned the virus, that's when I'll take it. He says, and here in New York City, there will be nobody stepping to the front of the line. It doesn't matter what your last name is.
There's some politicians saying they're going to take it right away as an example, as a leadership example to, the unwashed masses to make sure that we know it's safe. I've actually seen people say that.
I know.
Yeah. I will sacrifice and save myself first for the good of everybody else.
Exactly. And if I don't die, then you guys can scurry behind me.
Fauci actually said he thinks that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden should get the virus on national television to instill confidence in everybody.
Well, I think he said, though, he thought it was more of a, I don't think he really meant it. I think he said it was more of a security risk, that they are the president-elect, that vice president-elect. If they were to come down and get sick, it could be a national crisis, more of a.
Both of them got sick at the same time, especially.
Yeah, it would be really bad, and especially if they have a lot of close contact, a lot of intermingling between staff and stuff, that would be bad.
Look, that'd make.
But then again, Trump came down with all that shit. But I'm sure they would block Biden at this point. Trump would make sure that he didn't get all the good meds, like Trump got, and all his buddies got all the good meds. That's why Giuliani popped back out after 3 days.
Christ, hair dye transplant. What about you, Colin? You have a special topic that has been burning up your guts that you just like to talk about? You were so sleepy and tired on Medical Mondays last night.
I was sleepy and tired.
Right.
I don't really have too much of a topic. I mean, I can talk about Decrim Nature, Michigan for a minute, and just kind of like what we're doing there. And I think, I don't know if I mentioned last week, but Decrim Nature Detroit, they just kind of launched their page up, hoping to get like a page for Grand Rapids and Marquette up soon. And we have a Decrim Nature Michigan website for the full state going up. Should be ready by the first of the year. But we have a page for that on Facebook already, and Instagram. So that's my plug. And I don't know, there's a lot of research going on out there, new things every day. So that's always good.
Mr. Salame, what about you, sir? You look so sage, so modern shaman kind of right now.
Oh, he's the new guru. Colin has rejected, so he's the new guru.
Colin's famous phrase, "I'm not your fucking guru." Well, Jim,
all the responsibility falls
Jim is our fucking guru. It's all on you, Jim.
I'm here for you, but take it
I'm
slow.
listening.
Take it slow. Number one, I probably won't get the vaccine right away. I'll kind of wait and see what happens. And number two, things I got to say, number one, to Colin's point about research going on, the UK just put out this announcement. They're doing research on DMT for depression, and that's really cool. Decrim Nature has got a podcast coming up. It's going to be January 8th. Now it's going to be just after the new year, and we're going to try to do it every 2 weeks, and it's going to be on a Friday, and things will change, it'll grow. And I think we mentioned that before. And this is all to help organize for a festival that's going to happen sometime in February. That's going to be entheogen based in the Washtenaw County area. Probably just like Hash Bash, it might be downtown if we're able to do it next fall. But that's something to get excited about and just bring out the education and the knowledge and just the excitement about, where entheogens and psychedelics are headed right now.
That's pretty cool, actually. We maybe know a house in Ypsilanti with a really big tall fence all the way around it out in the woods where, a bunch of entheogens could enjoy themselves and not have to worry about wandering off property.
I like that a lot.
Who
That
knows?
sounds like a great, yeah, I'm there.
Clouds of
Send me-
smokes around
Send me
Berg.
the address.
Clouds of smokes around Berg everywhere he goes, especially right on video right now. It looks pretty good. Looks great.
Looks like he has all the answers to the universe locked up inside of that skull.
He might be your fucking
Yeah.
guru.
I got to tell you though, I'm a little weirded out because
Can
there's
only
no
be
rubber
one,
bands
Colin,
holding.
only one.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
rubber bands holding
Oh,
the hairs together,
It's
so
all,
he's
it's all loose. It's flying
unfettered.
everywhere.
Wait, I gotta see this.
Oh, wow.
No, I just want to start off by saying I wish I could have the same mentality when it comes to our government that Rick does. Because all this shit that you say, man, I wish I could believe it. But just like, oh yeah, all the vaccines, accounted for and all that shit, bro. I mean, even if our government officials went on live TV and took a vaccine, what says that it's a vaccine? It could be fucking saline or, I don't know, man.
Well, government's earned mistrust, man, but we don't have
Yeah.
other information to deal with right now.
Yeah.
That's kind
Yeah,
of where.
Yeah, and I got to rock with the science. I mean, and I'm just going to take a leap of faith with this one because I've been trapped too long. I got to get out of this house.
The other thing is, by the time March rolls around, they'll have had 3 months of using this. If there were any side effects that were significant, we'll probably have seen it by the time we get our turn.
I think Dave will get it first because he's a teacher. They're going to call him, a essential worker or something. So I'm going to watch and see what happens with Dave. If there's no adverse effects, then I'm right behind him.
Remember Schneider supposedly was going to be drinking the Flint water for a while just to demonstrate to everybody. That kind of like was a fizzled out.
I thought it was just one
program.
glass. He was just chugging one glass. I didn't realize he was actually
I think he begrudgingly started off. Let's see it. I don't think that issue is totally resolved even to this date right now.
Nope.
Sure isn't. Berg, you had another one. I know that was just a start. Keep rolling, big guy.
What about the vaccine or just in general?
In general, man, just let it fly.
Whatever. My biggest thing, and I've been screaming it since, ever since I've been on Medical Mondays. We need to keep cannabis in the people's hands. We need to not let corporate entities take this shit over. You need to be able to grow your own medicine if you're able to. There has to be reliable and conscientious, caregivers out there, looking out for people. Because when you look at it, the big picture, corporations don't give a fuck about anything but profit. That's it, at least in my experience. I've never been one to have lots of money, so I've never, had the privilege of not having to worry about dealing with police and, having money for big time lawyers that, get my ass out of jail type shit. So, plus I think smaller grows, the better the weed, the better quality, it's not just
better care. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to take care of.
You need people who can grow for themselves and can grow for others.
From a consumer advantage, the best thing for consumers is the greatest variety of sourcing, the greatest variety of supply. It's also the best for the market because it keeps prices moderate, it keeps quality high, it keeps competition out there. Although a business person might want to gain advantage, business advantage is very rarely helpful to the consumer. Very rarely.
And don't get me wrong, when it comes to corporations, there are good ones out there, but it just seems like the majority of them are just about the money,
I think there's room for everybody, maybe.
I'm sure you guys have seen the documentary, The Corporation, where it just talks about, you know, how corporations are supposed to be seen as a person. Well, if that person was going to go to a psych eval, they would be fucking locked up in a psychiatric unit. You know what I mean? Like if they just went down the list of priorities.
By the way, everyone, it's 420.
I have a hemp joint here from Native Cultivations. I got sent mail. Jamie, did you get your Native Cultivations trivia? No.
I did not get my package,
no. So this is a hemp joint. It's Big Bubba. You can see the filter in the end of it, right?
How is it?
Packed. We're going to. This is my second one I smoked.
You know, some people do use these to help supplant the urge to smoke cigarettes and stuff, and help to, you know, tobacco.
You know what I think. So,
but some of them I hear are good. I'm just hoping that, like,
yeah, I've heard that too, but I haven't tasted one yet. Although I tell you, Tony and Mark got nice. They've got nice fields going. I visited them over the summer. Mm-hmm. And they've got a beautiful harvesting crops going. It's just gorgeous out there. But I'm not one for hemp. I don't like to smoke it. And I'm sure there's lots of good things you can do with it, but I don't like to smoke it.
I haven't had any hemp that I could see me smoking on the regular. Or even choosing to smoke besides to try it, you know.
Right. And didn't want, I mean, people kept forcing me to try it. I didn't even want to after a couple, you know, people keep saying, try it. And it doesn't do anything for me.
I'm actually,
I don't know.
Try some more, you know. I tried vaping to get off of cigarettes and I just couldn't do it. Like,
you know what, you got to go cold turkey. That's what I did. I went cold turkey on Berg. It's hard as fuck, but you got to do it if you want to get off of them. Seriously, you will hallucinate. Like, it's crazy. You have a real bad couple weeks and then you'll be all right.
I use full spectrum CBD oil for quitting cigarettes.
Yeah, really? I wish I would have known about that. I quit like 12 years ago. It was hard. It's the hardest thing I ever did. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, but if I can do it, you can do it.
And hemp cigarettes, like people who do smoke find that they're really helpful for keeping them and weaning them off cigarettes because the CBD as a neuroprotectant relaxes people's anxiety when they're going through those withdrawals.
Plus the ritual, just the whole ritual of smoking, that's all part of it, you know?
I mean, it just seemed like when I tried to quit before, it just always something arises and I'm just like about to fucking rip somebody's head off. And I'm like, oh, I'll just smoke a cigarette.
I feel, but you know, what you got to do is you just got to rip their head off. You know, you got to roll with it for a couple weeks and then you're out of that bondage. So it's hard.
But imagine if weed was so, you know, accepted that you could be like, oh, guess what? I'm going to just go out to my car and smoke a joint instead of fucking wanting to beat this guy I works with ass, you know?
Don't you do that now?
I mean, yeah, you can, but if primarily if you're on in a union,
corporate job or something. Yeah.
Oh shit! Director of Licensing, Advisory, and what?
Social Equity.
Oh.
It said advocacy, not advisory, but advisory kind of works. But I like advocacy. That's also my badge.
Oh, excellent.
All right, entering the
by using his badge.
The retail fray.
We're walking.
There's actual patients and customers being taken care of by the bartenders back there. Missy Jekyll. Some people remember her. She works a lot with Sons and Daughters. Good friends with Josie.
Right.
I remember Missy.
Here's the new showcase with the glass in it. There's some like ornaments that are blown glass. I got one for Christine today. See them up there on the top? Those are glass ornaments.
Wow. Those are nice.
Yeah, this is
Can you
pretty cool
smoke
stuff.
cannabis out of them?
You can't, but there are lots of things here that you can smoke cannabis out of. There's lots of really nice
Jim,
pipes and
you
rigs
could
and stuff like that.
transform it, right? You can make it work.
You
Look
might
at that
catch
guy.
your tree on fire.
Look at this. Hold on a second. Check this out. Robin Schneider.
Uh-huh.
Ida, look at that.
Robin and Ida, yay!
MCIA in the house. Nice. You guys coming in? Oh, you got to go through all this first. It's got to be proper stuff. Right?
I don't know. They're saying we can't all come back, so we haven't decided.
We'll be hanging around here, so I'll get you back on. This is our broadcast right now.
Oh, hi.
Remember the things that Ben did of me and Rick? The
Oh,
cartoon?
yeah, no, I love that.
See?
Talking about the cartoons
See?
again.
Oh, here's Ross.
There you go. Everybody's talking
All
about
right,
the
we'll see you in
cartoons,
here in a
Rick.
second.
All right.
I
Okay,
told you, a
Rob's
lot
gonna
of
be here in a
positive
second.
feedback.
Where's Danielle?
It's good to be famous for something. I mean, hard nipples in a big package. That's
Oh,
fine.
Jazz
There
Cabbage
you
Café.
go.
Oh, nice. Hi.
Except can't even see yours.
No,
Danielle,
mine are
I
the ones you can.
purposely have hit.
I know.
The place
I
looks
hide
great.
yours. I
Jamie.
don't want to scare people, you know.
So then here's a live feed of the grow that's right behind us.
I love
Oh,
how
wow.
Rick is like. I love how Rick is like. Oh, my nipples are better. My nipples are better.
They're displayed.
Oh,
Love the
man.
live feed of your grow. That's awesome.
Great.
Look at this. Look at this. Here comes the man. Jamie Taylor, Russ Chambers. You just said Rick. Rick said hi to you specifically, and you're just saying. Rick.
My internet is terrible. Hi, Russ.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, guys. Hi. Hello.
Hey, man.
Oh.
How you doing, man? How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah, Jazz Cabbage. Spencer, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Is Jimmy like the Walmart greeter? Are you like the
No.
greeter? You've got the flyers at the front door and
Got a fancy name badge for a greeter, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Robin's out
Oh,
there.
Robin's on.
Yeah. All right. So that felt good. Hope everybody else enjoyed that as much as I did. Especially being surprised by Robin Schneider and Ida. In the lobby. Let's see if we cross paths. Oh, there we go. Thanks. Lots of action here. All right, that's it.
That's it.
That's all that needs to be known, I guess.
It occurs
was
to me
super
that since Jamie's
exciting.
broadcasting from inside a marijuana regulatory agency controlled building, he can't smoke cannabis for 2 hours like the rest of us can.
That is true, and that has not been lost on me. I'm glad you brought it up to rub it in a little bit. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey,
That explains so
Now
much.
you know how Berg was
What?
feeling, you
So
know.
much.
That's why
Hey,
he's so
Jamie.
snippy today.
See what I got, bro.
Jamie, did you?
He can
did
go out
you
to
hear-
the car, right, Berg?
I gotta go off the parcel, leave the parcel entirely.
You must leave the whole area.
Yes.
Wow.
So here is but when we're not sitting around getting stoned, we can appreciate this fine artwork.
Oh,
This is
that's
the-
cool.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's the ornament I
Wow.
purchased today.
very nice. Don't break it.
I got a pre-roll from Real Leaf Solution in a hemp tube container.
What's
Bio
up, strain?
It is
That I like.
gelato.
Is that a hemp plastic tube container?
It is, and it's gelato with THC in it, worthy of smoking. And
But you cannot smoke it, so.
not right now. I can't.
Uh,
And I got some sour cupcake,
All right,
Nate, because it looked good.
which you can't smoke either.
blackout packaging to keep that the THC potency, safe from.
Yeah, I can tell if a little bit escapes, and I'm not happy consumer. We make sure we trap all possible THC points.
Whatever that was.
Do you
There you
still
go.
need to have your mask on?
I'm in this room alone right now. There's good ventilation and shit in here, but
It was
when
kind
I get
of.
up, when I get up and walk around, for sure, I definitely have to have it on.
I mean, and perhaps at any time we choose to not want to listen to you, you could put it on if we ask you. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say zip it.
Oh, I don't think it works that easy, but all right, theoretically.
I think Rick is feeling superior because he says he has better nipples than you, Jamie.
Yeah, he does.
I have to suggest. If you
I'm not
look
sure
at
if they're more pronounced. I'm not sure if better is necessary.
Yours are inverted. They're so non.
Mine are not particularly hard at the moment. I mean, that's for sure.
Come on, man. Clearly, one of my superpowers.
I have no comment, and I've seen both of them swimming, so I have no comment.
My nipples can do the backstroke.
Neither one was very appetizing.
I thought it was pretty.
Wow. All right.
It was kind of gross. But I mean,
it was kind of gross.
But I was not in, I was not in a normal frame of mind, and everything was kind of weird that day.
For the wrong ice cream store that day.
Yes.
Yeah. I ate some it was like green ice cream. It was very strange. Like neon green. What was that?
We were at a froyo place out in the middle of Oscoda, where you have just all these different kinds where you can fill it up almost like a Slurpee machine, and then you pay based on weight. So you could make the most gross combination you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, I remember that being really gross. That was like the end of all the. Well, never. It was kind of gross.
We were all on mushrooms, and it was
and
a
then
weird
we drove
place.
home.
So that's the significance of the story. Yeah.
We took a trip.
You were
to Detroit.
attracted to the green color.
I don't think so. I wanted something that looked normal, but there was nothing in the place that looked normal. Everything was like neon. And am I lying? Or yeah,
we were laughing so hard. I think we laughed nonstop through the entire experience. A mother and her children were embarrassed for us because how much we were laughing.
I think we laughed.
They were.
Yeah, we laughed.
They were not on mushrooms. They could not relate to what we were going through. So
they were judging.
They were judgy. I don't know.
What if
they were judgy. They were. You're walking out with that little sour face and we came here to have fun, but you're taking up all the fun. We can't have any.
It was summertime in Michigan, and we're adults.
Yeah. I'm sure the mom used this opportunity to teach her kids a life lesson. That's why drugs are bad. See that?
It was a very interesting drive home.
It was a good time.
We had a great time. Total fun. Lots of joy.
What else was going on? What was going on up there that whole weekend or something?
That was the comedy thing with Darren Mack.
No, it was not. No, that was cold out.
This was in the summer.
Thing was
this
cold.
was the previous summer from that.
It was Cannapalooza, probably.
No, it wasn't Cannapalooza either. It was just the normal meeting, the Northeastern Michigan normal meeting. That's what we've gone to, and then we're like, hey, so we all spent the night, and then we went over to Steve's house.
Christine was with us. Yep. And
we had a blast.
I broke the trampoline or whatever it was.
What was that? It was not a trampoline. This was
something?
one of these suspension,
or whatever it was.
Apparently thought it was a trampoline, and he flopped his ass in it, and the whole thing collapsed. It was one of the funnier parts of the day.
That helps to describe a lot of it right there. I broke the trampoline, or whatever it was.
Holy shit.
I mean, after I was there, it was wreckage. That's what we called it. So I don't know what it was
really
beforehand.
thought at that point. Yeah, that was pretty hilarious.
No, we had
The
a good
funny
time.
part was it was on a cement slab, so it was really quite a crash down. It wasn't into some soft grass or anything. It was just like bam. It was pretty fun.
Yep. Yep. My crack went crack. Yep. It was no fun.
Steve goes, oh, I forgot to tell you it's broken.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Danielle. Danielle's awesome.
Office Keurig, everybody. Danielle's within the last few days of being part of our organization.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I was going to say, did you persuade her to stay? Because I thought she wasn't staying.
Well,
But
I did
she's
not
not?
persuade her to stay, but
Oh.
she, fortunately for her, she's leaving to be involved with some good people, to
Okay.
do some good things, and she'll have a really good situation to walk into from here. So while we're sad that she's leaving here, we're happy for her that she's got a good gig to walk into. Still in the cannabis industry, up with some people who have also been at it for a really long time. So it's all cool. They're good people.
Good.
Well, that's great.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Get rid of me now.
Everybody saying congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Wow, that is too much.
What?
So, are we going to talk about Donald Trump at all today? You know, he
Let's
did
do it.
like.
I think that we should revisit the diaper down conversation and then segue into whatever new information might be out
Is there
I don't
new
know if you want
facts
to.
available on that?
Colin,
Well-
what? Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say like, no, just that he lost on like Friday, you know, in the Supreme Court
Oh, yeah.
in that Texas lawsuit, and
The Electoral College made it official last night.
yeah, and like Mitch McConnell and Vladimir Putin congratulated Joe Biden today.
Robin, walk down the hall, everybody.
Oh, so it's over? Are you saying it's over now?
Well, it's
No, it's
been
not
over.
It's
It's
not
been
over.
over, dude.
I
No,
love
but
Jim.
explain to me then why so many
Jim's
Republicans are still flapping around and he's still, you know, Trump's still flapping his jaw saying, you know, it's not over, yada, yada, yada. Why do
January
these people
6th,
back him?
January
Well,
6th
why
is
did
when
they?
Congress will now take it and affirm it. And then the White House has put out a statement that they have until January 19th
Right.
to fight the results. So
But
that's
why
why.
are, I understand he's crazy, but why are so many people backing him on this?
Because they continue to get results from doing it, unfortunately.
Oh,
And,
yeah. The
people in their
payouts.
constituency that it makes it worthwhile. I mean, that's the only reason that there could be.
It's a
That's
lot of
just
money.
crazy because it's going to hurt him in the long run. I would suspect.
I'm just waiting for the next Republican to shit himself, man.
Without a diaper, man. They should have found out.
At least have a damn diaper, yeah.
I got that Don disease. God damn it. Every time I get pissed, I shit uncontrollably.
Yep. We'll rename that. Instead of dumping in your pants, we'll call it taking a Trump. Oh no, I trumped.
Oh,
I
shit.
sneezed really hard and I trumped. Oh no.
Yeah, I gotta go take a Trump.
I don't think I'll ever use that phrase.
Imagine like being like a little kid and growing up and like reading like the like, you know, you always talk about
Yeah.
calf getting stuck in the bathtub, but there's gonna be just like, you know, numerous stories that you're gonna be told about this one president.
No,
For
yeah.
kids thinking
No.
it's normal. Kids
Social
that have
media
been, you know,
alone.
little, they think this shit's normal.
Social
A lot of
media
them, you know.
alone, all his fucking
Oh.
tweets, like even if he deleted them, they're still out there.
There are
Yeah.
people out there that saved everything he ever put out.
I don't even read them. Do you read them? The only reason I'm
just
aware of them is
saying,
because, you know, people
for
are showing them.
future, like our fucking like the children growing up, or it's like crazy, and then their parents. You know, some of them are supporting this motherfucker, and
Yeah.
they're making it seem like Trump is the best thing that's ever happened. You know, and children are growing up like thinking that he's the greatest because his parents.
Right. Just like zombie, you know.
My
Just
hope is that once we get by this and we have time to move past it and look back and really kind of get a bigger picture of what's happened, we'll be able to break it down and really, I don't know, make sense of it a little bit more of how it even happened in the first place. And
that's my concern.
you know, and just also be able to explain it so these young kids don't think it's a norm.
I personally
70
make them
plus million
understand
people
it's
still
not.
voted for this guy, man. It's
Right.
I
And
still
like Jim
believe
said,
I
how do we explain that? How
Fuck.
do we explain a turn in society like that, where it's just he's okay with all these people? It's a scary venture. I don't know. Very
the
scary
way they
shit.
fucked over, Bernie Sanders, man. I swear to God, that's the reason why Trump got elected. There are so many people supporting Bernie
Probably
Sanders
right.
You're right there.
that just didn't even vote after they.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. People just didn't vote because so many more people showed up this past time.
Well, this was a record-breaking election for voter turnout, and
that is a good thing
18 million still didn't vote.
Because people were horrified, though. People just who hadn't voted in a while were just horrified. They had to come out.
Trump's did inspire more participation in the process. That's one good thing that came out of this tragic nuttiness.
Well,
Sorry, Robbie's a Trump fan, and I'm saying this stuff right in front of him. Sorry about that.
I'm sure
No.
Here's what's going to happen, though. The fact is, as this period of time is looked back on in history, we're going to have a lot of people analyzing what happened before the Trump presidency, what happened in the White House during the Trump presidency, and its lingering effect on America. I think maybe we needed this. Maybe we needed this in order for us to really evaluate who we are as a nation and stop lying about how our morality is common and shared and centered. Like our morality is so individualized sometimes that that as a nation we aren't united because we have different moral things. Some people don't agree with killing people for murder, institutional death penalty.
Death penalty and stuff. And speaking of that, the Trump administration is trying to hurry up and get more in. Resurrect that policy to make it more easier and get some in before he leaves office.
Yeah, I'm totally against it.
As if he gets paid for it or something. As if there's some tote board that says this president killed this many people and he's trying to get to the top.
Let's hurry up and kill these people before we leave office. Jesus
Christ. He's also gotten rid of Barr, basically. Barr probably resigned with Trump saying that he's going to fire you. And he probably said, well, let me resign then. And he probably resigned for that purpose so that Trump can now have his way with the DOJ.
Well, you understand that if Trump pardons himself, you would not want to be the attorney general on duty then, because either you'd have to do the untenable thing, which is support that decision, or the obstructive thing, which is fight the president on it. And if you're Barr and you see that battle coming, you step aside because he's kind of gutless. He's been a Trump.
You don't think he's going to pull a Nixon and last minute be like, oh yeah, I resign, and then have fucking his boy Pence?
That's valid. It could be.
Well, that's very valid. That could happen. Or like Rick said, he could, pardon himself. He's going to apparently pardon his children, although there are no charges.
Yeah, so pardon. Right. So
the just make random pardons. It'll
he have to do for himself too.
Uh-huh.
And that is like a weird thing. First of all, to do it preemptively for yourself, and then it still doesn't help out his scenario in the few states, including New York, which is probably the most active, that have independent investigations going on with them. That's got nothing to do with his ability to federally pardon, even if you could do it preemptively.
But if you knew that your family had engaged in things like, trade with China, like Ivanka signing trademark deals with the Chinese government while she was working in the White House in order to smooth over relations with those nations, the MBS is really, really close to Don Jr. and to Kushner. MBS is the leader of Saudi Arabia. So if you knew that there was some shit that history might look back on and go, yeah, that was criminal, you might want to just do that and pardon everybody ahead of time.
Yeah, but still, how shady is that?
It's terrible. It's terrible. So that's a horrible precedent for the presidency. And hopefully the Biden-Harris presidency will erase some of that ridiculousness and get us back on the path we're more used to. we may have fought about the different individual characteristics of each president, but they at least colored inside the lines, so to speak, in most cases. So
we do have to find a way to unite the country, though. It's still pretty divided, and that's growing, and it'll grow more after January 20th.
The first thing that we need to
there's got to be a way.
Right. The first thing we need to do is just berate shamelessly those people who voted for Trump
at all times.
I don't.
There is one thing, Jim, that unites.
Shame them into taking a different position so that we can all be united.
Right.
I don't think that's how it's going to work, really.
No.
Unites us all.
Why not?
Let's let that unification through sarcasm. Right. Okay. Nice. No, I think
might be able to help. Psilocybin might be able to.
Mushrooms would. Let's put it in the water. Here's what I'm thinking, though. We have an international theater that's very robust too. There's going to be a situation, whether it's Yemen right now, whether it's Syria, the Turkish border, whether it's Afghanistan. There's going to be a situation that causes us to have to get involved someplace internationally, and that'll be another cause for divide amongst American citizens. As some people say, we should centralize and not worry about those things, and other people say we have an obligation to protect decency and morality around the globe. So we face a lot.
But at the same time, you gotta look at all the, they help overthrow governments as well. They put fucking fake dictators in place. That's our government, and they're making money off of it.
We have been pretty reprehensible in the past. Yep. When we talk about Reagan, I know the Republicans like to love Reagan as the best thing since sliced bread for their party. But as somebody who fought hard against Reagan while he was in office for all 8 years, even when I was in sophomore in high school, Central America was a mess, man. They replaced governments. They put the CIA was getting coca plants, and they actually CIA tried to start a coca plantation in the United States of America, which failed because the climate's just not going to work. But the way that we manipulated things down there for a long time, that created a lot of negative feelings towards the United States, and that's generational. It'll be hard, long time before we fix that. Same thing in the Middle East. We've been meddling in politics over there for so long that people don't trust us.
I mean, we trained Al Qaeda. We built them motherfuckers up. Yeah.
I also think it's a concern when the American government hires private military contractors to do military work, because then there's no military accountability for their actions. If you know that people are going to do some horrible shit and you hire private contractors to do it, we should do things.
The thing about our government is, like, the way I see it, they have it's like they have no conflict. They see no conflict of interest in anything they do anymore. Like they appoint all these fucking corporate CEOs and, places where they shouldn't, like the FDA and, shit like that, Each year, the FDA, oh man, I don't even want to get into it.
No, but Berg, you're right. One of the things that the Constitution's the founders said is that the military should always be run by a civilian, and we've had waivers to that last year. General Mad Dog Mattis, and then we'll probably have one this year too for the one that Joe Biden has selected. But there's a reason why you don't put the people you're supervising in charge, right? Because there's oftentimes corruption, there's oftentimes influence. You can't put somebody who isn't in the mining industry in charge of regulating the mining industry. That's just stupid, but that's what Trump did. You can't put someone who's an airline industry executive in charge of running the airline industry regulatory agency in the United States, but that's what Trump did. Those are just horrible decisions, and they would never fly in a traditional presidency. Barack Obama never could have gotten away with them. Neither could George W. I mean, the Democrats were hounding George W. just as bad as the Republicans were hounding Obama. So if he made some questionable decisions, they were always going to call him out for it. That's the normal checks and balances of government, and it's been completely absent during the Trump presidency. We have mine tailings being dumped in our rivers now. that have been forbidden
Oh
for
yeah.
decades.
I mean, I love how Gore, it's not only the fucking Republicans, it's the fucking Democrats as well. I love how Gore was all fucking, global warming, blah, 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 puts out a documentary, and then the motherfucker puts money in on fracking. Like, he's just like a piece of shit in my eyes now. Like how, I don't even understand how people could see fracking as like reliable source of getting natural gas.
It's really
It's
not.
just ruining everything.
It's really not. But it allows a lot of small guys make some money, so they allow them to do it. It's not right. And the way that they hydro pressure the wastewater back into the earth is atrocious.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
They don't even have to say. They don't even have to say what they're pumping down there because it's proprietary. Like it's our secret ingredients. We can't tell you. Like what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's all about mineral rights too. They could frack underneath you.
Sometimes we talk about ticking time bombs. That is a ticking time bomb.
Then we're wondering where all these sinkholes are coming from and shit like that.
Right. The earthquakes in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, in Monroe. I mean,
Monroe.
Flat Rock.
Yeah.
There was a big earthquake that one day, a couple months back. I felt it in Dearborn.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Ryan Basore joins us.
What up?
Redemption Cannabis Redemption Foundation, and was a patron today.
First medical patient.
First medical patient today at the Botanical Company in Lansing.
Nice.
And you got some redemption products.
Yep,
right?
We got some Willie's Escape Cake, which is only in a few stores. Big fan of that with True Cannabis. And
I like that.
It's Sea Junkies genetics, which I'm a fan of, and then also the Gooberry 5-pack pre-roll, and then the Noble Road peanut butter cookies, which I had when I toured the spot over there right around the corner in Lansing at the old Ramon's Bakery. So yeah, it's awesome. Store looked great.
And we are also just joined by Liano Sharon, who is trying to there he is. Got Sam Pernick's name up there, confusing people around the globe.
Yeah.
They're not the same person.
So we're going to talk about some of the stuff that you've just been involved in and some other stuff at large too, Leo, especially when Zahra comes on.
Sure.
So, all right, Ryan, look at that scene back there. You are
man.
Festive, and
that is nice. A balloon. That's a balloon tree.
Oh, cool.
Oh shit.
That at your crib? Is that your house?
Yeah, that's what happens when your wife starts a design company.
She does she's designing stuff, but also she's still putting on helping to arrange for nice events, and that'd be all part of the.
Yeah, a lot of 10 people and under type stuff where they want a 16-year-old birthday party or a bar mitzvah next year, and just a lot of kind of more. She's even doing a special Zoom. They're doing a Zoom one where they're ordering stuff to have decorated at their Zoom meeting. So it's pretty cool to watch it adjust, and and in this new world, and just excited when everything comes back to normal, and I think people will be excited to party and have events and get out and mingle and interact with humans more.
I'm sure if Jenna just simply requested it, Deb would hook her up with that screen behind her right there. That'll solve any Zoom.
Yeah. Ryan, I have two different versions of this. Either one is available. Just let me know.
Wow, that'd be sweet. Yeah, make some special balloon adjustments with those.
I was thinking masks. Could she make masks?
When you take that down, it's so easy. You just get a pin, you just start popping the heck out of that thing.
Oh.
Voodoo doll situation.
I was thinking greeting cards or something.
Green what?
Greeting cards or something.
Oh, greeting cards. I was thinking masks, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, so what's happening with the foundation?
Well, right now, I don't know as far as the last time to update. We're up to we're nearing 50 grand for the Michigan Cannabis Prisoner Relief project. And that's with the Michigan Cannabis Caucus, the Democratic Party, and then also my foundation and the Last Prisoner Project, and Montel Williams has helped some, and Weed Maps has done some advertising for it, but that's going along good. We're working pretty hard on Rudy Gamo's case now, and getting information over the governor and the AG and on that, and getting ready with one of our board members, Dennis Shornack. He's helping us put together on 7/10 next year, Saturday. We'll be having a big cannabis, hopefully friendly golf outing, and with probably LPP, and going to try to bring in some real big names. Even our goal is to get Bill Murray to come, so that would be cool, and raise a lot of money for everybody there. And then we're moving right along with the city. We're going to have a resolution hopefully with the city of Lansing. It'll be introduced in January to there's the Chamber of Commerce, the Lansing area endorsed. We're working on a trade school and industry school taught by professionals with a lot of social equity scholarships for people wanting to get into industry in Lansing. The chamber's behind us 100%, and now we're working on the city council in the city, and then we'll move on to LCC. So that's been a main focus. That and my business is kind of ramping up and growing, and it's still just me. So I'm in a stage where a couple of months from now I'll have help, and I'll be able to get more stuff done with the foundation. So I'm excited about that.
Sounds good, man. Yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
I didn't know if my internet was working better again or not. So we talked about the Last Prisoner Project and the Michigan Cannabis Prisoner Release Fund. Michael Thompson had a parole hearing, and we're still waiting to hear the results of the parole board's decision. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be actually the 17th, Thursday.
Okay, so we might hear that decision quickly. And regardless of the decision, that at that time would free up the governor to be able to take action on Michael's case based on what their recommendation was. Most of us believe if the board recommends parole, the governor would take no action because Michael will eventually be freed anyway. But if the board does not recommend parole, that the governor may take commutation.
That's what we're expecting. We've been, to be honest, we've been told kind of along the way. It's hey, we have to pull these levers, follow these steps. All right, we've made it through these levers and steps, so that's our expectation. And I wouldn't say it's been promised, but I feel like it's assumed. Right.
The Attorney General has been involved in that case too.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it would just be. I mean, I would love to hear. I couldn't imagine a reason why she wouldn't. It's unfathomable to me. So. But stranger things have happened, so we have to keep the pressure on it. And it's a little disappointing. We're struggling to get meetings about commutations and parole and people that are in jail with the governor's office. Been a lot of shutouts, which is surprising. So hopefully that picks up in January. Have to put the pressure on her though.
Yeah, you can't ever take anything for granted or assume it's going to keep on going in a certain direction. You got to see it through. We haven't learned anything.
Michigan's political system really likes to keep people in jail. It really doesn't like to free people. The system's not set up to do that. So it's onerous and difficult to get people freed, especially going through the normal process. Even with good attorneys, it still takes a long time.
Yeah, because it's like its own, like they're on their own little fiefdom over there. The whole parole board, the whole process, they're like their own little unit, and they act like it, they're not like to be told what to do by anybody, including the governor, sounds like. So it's pretty weird. It's not a good setup. It's become, I guess, incestuous based on just, they're working to keep they would much rather see I would think, their coworkers with jobs and people in their industry than letting out people from jail.
They fear change.
Yep. And it's difficult. I know that, but when I testified to Michael Thompson's hearing, I was told in advance not to bring up things like the system is unfair or that there was racism involved in this thing, because those are non-starters with the parole board. The parole board members just feel so strongly that the system works. When you start to question the system, then they start to disbelieve anything else you say. So we stuck with things about, his opportunities once he's released, his behavior while he's been incarcerated, what's likely to be able to get him employment or have him in a stable situation when he gets out. That was the thrust.
Yep.
But the reality is that he's in there because of all those things I just said, racism and a bad system.
Without a doubt. So it's just like, I never forget it. You deal with that, and like, man, like when you're standing in, say, a federal courtroom or a courtroom, and you see Department of Justice or Hall of Justice, and it's all honor and respect, and we do everything correct, and then you go through the charade, and it's weird to put so much focus and honor on that, and I guess have the brain rationalize, or you get in a system where you think you're actually doing that, but it's a lot of times it's the exact opposite, my experience.
Well,
So,
Schedule 1 is a lie. So the government embraces a lie every single day. So
Yep.
those buildings and those words should be stricken from them until they fix that Schedule 1.
Yeah.
And in the state, there's no rational basis for it to remain Schedule 1 or on the schedule within our state either. So Ryan, how's the smoking rope going?
Smoking Rope's going great. On the episode 23 tomorrow. Getting a lot of seems we've hit a nerve with like a lot of industry folks, a lot of people coming into the industry from even other states that have been recruited to come to Michigan, trying to learn about Michigan, or then, I get a word from my accountant or the people at the bank. So it just seems to be, it's become more of an industry show, which is kind of what we wanted. And, everyone, that's why it works so well with, Planet Green Trees and Jazz Cabbage Cafe, Medical Mondays, all the different shows. Like, we're all a little different, doing our own thing. So that's what we've become. We got Andrew Brisboe on tomorrow. We'll be live streaming at 1:00, and then I think the following week we just want to kind of maybe do a taste. Like, might not have any guests, might have a couple special, but we might just do some fun taste testing and reviews of some of our products and talk, and then do a year end at the end of the year. But some new stuff going to be happening. We've been getting hit up to have sponsorships by some bigger ancillary companies that have been members of the MICA and been part of it, and have kind of taken the approach of getting in with a lot of the smaller companies and embracing the industry that way, and not embracing with the the Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. So kind of take a look at that. On our show, a dispensary wouldn't do well to advertise with us, but like an accounting firm or say a bank would, because of the people that are listening. So I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and going to keep doing it. See how many weeks in a row. I don't know, what's your guys' record? I actually was thinking about that. How many weeks in a row have you guys been going right now?
Well, there's a few times where we didn't broadcast for a couple of holidays, and then like some time after the lockdown.
Okay.
A snowstorm that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was a bad snowstorm.
So, but whenever whenever we could, we have for over 3 years now. So
cool.
Whatever that number is, we were on show number 1 for like about the first 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And PGT, of course, has got hundreds of episodes. I mean, I've got 700 videos on my playlist.
Yeah.
Any is PGT ever missed a week?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's been some holiday weeks, and then just some like circumstances that canceled the show. That's happened.
There've been times when Michael was in court late, so we just didn't do the show because it was in his basement, and you can't really do that if Michael's not.
And weather stuff too.
Yeah.
Did stop the show a few times.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, over really, that's been going since 11, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Right. Patty McDonald, our manager here.
Hi, Patty. Good. So yeah. Podcasting in Michigan has a long history. Steve Green and I and Medical Mike were on the real radio way back in 10 and 11. It's just really evolved now. And as you mentioned, there's just such a variety of different shows you can go to. There's B2B shows like Smoke and Rope or my 420 post. There's Smoke and Swearing shows like Medical Mondays, where you can just let it all hang out. The most important question of the day is, what's everybody smoking on?
Hey, you didn't get
those
to
are
that
fun
one
shows,
yesterday
man.
for the first time in many, many weeks, man. You fucked up last night, Berg. Just
I
pointing that
know,
out
I
now.
know. Whatever.
It's all right. No, and then Jazz Cabbage with the politics, and there are regional shows too that are doing all over the place. So, podcasting in Michigan is starting to be big. The thing is that
I saw Chris Jackson just started one as well. Check that out from Sticky Ipsy, NCIA.
well, cool.
Yeah, no, it's good. We need them.
Yeah, more the merrier. So,
Sure.
anything you need to impart to us or leave us with, or make sure it gets discussed before we start talking to Liano and Zahra?
No, just as far as I mean, excited about the botanical company opening. I know you're there right now, Jamie, and I was there, and you know, Calcasco will be opening beginning of the year sometime, and the lounge when that's ready. That's going to be so exciting, and no, it's exciting time. Glad to kind of have a home store back in Lansing, and I know Tom Beller from Relief Solutions, who, you know, we met through our friends at Kind, and he supplied some great Lansing stores, and he's back in Lansing, and we got Detroit Bud Company, we got Bullet Buds, Elements right there, that's in Lansing, right next to us, Noble Road in Lansing. So it's kind of, we're trying to make it a small guy in a hometown store, and just want to support the Lansing area.
That's fantastic. You know, you guys missed the big opportunity, though. Instead of the botanical company, it should have been the Hotanical Company. So it could be THC as your initials. I mean,
And then we could add hose.
the Hotanical. I mean, it should be a whole new word. Hotanical. Isn't that a great sunset? Yeah, it's Hotanical. So,
Yeah, Berg's trying to peddle this one. It's almost catching on. Let's see what happens.
Oh,
So anyway,
yeah,
I didn't quite get it.
Yep.
It's frozen. But so Ryan, stay on as long as you want to be part of the conversation. If you are so inclined. But we're going to talk to you know, Zahra, and we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Zahra and Liano both were a part of like an election of sorts in which they were.
Saw that. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I'll have to explain exactly what it is. So I don't, you know, not explain it correctly. But delegates within the Democratic Party, I believe, is the description. But I just want to take a second out to discuss Zahra and the fact that she is a member of a huge long list of organizations and groups in which she holds a high position of some kind or another. Can you go down the entire list and what position you are in the organization?
Sure. So I'm with Healthy Dearborn on the committee for that. Vice President of Motor City Normal. Vice Chair.
That's relatively recent too. The Motor City Normal position.
Yeah, Vice President. Vice Chair of the Cannabis Caucus of the Michigan Democratic Party. Precinct Delegate, State Central Committee Delegate, and then now Delegate to the DNC. I think that's it.
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I just need to finish getting a job, something that pays. That's it.
And you still looking for something in the medical billing or the medical
medical assistant, yeah.
Medical assistant. Yeah. And that was you know, just to reiterate that story a little bit. So Zahra has found cannabis to be the thing that stops, you know, major seizures from taking place. And then after she finished her program in medical assisting, wanted to get a job, and in order to prepare for the interview and all the hiring processes, and especially the ones concerned about, you know, taking drug tests and stuff, she didn't use for a little bit, and the seizures came back and had some really bad ones, or at least a really bad one. And
yeah,
the hard way.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I had only stopped it for 3 mornings, so it wasn't like it had been that long, but yeah, I went through breakthrough seizures that damaged so much of my jaws in my mouth, and lost a tooth and part of a bone, and chipped most of my teeth. So that was one of the worst injuries from the seizures, but hopefully it doesn't happen again. And I think that's why it's taking me so long to get a job in the medical assistant field, is because I still have that trauma from that event.
Sure. And it, you know, it's the hard way, but you certainly like confirmed how cannabis is the thing that is the difference between you having to deal with those events on a regular basis or not.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think like I've gotten injuries or a lot of injuries before, but it wasn't this bad because like we knew that I needed safeguards and that like when I used to stop breathing, I wasn't like, you know, I couldn't sleep alone in the room or anything like that. But this one, it was because I had been seizure free for almost 4 years. And the urgent care that I was doing my externship at did not do a good job of even responding to the seizure, even though they're in urgent care. But so like that's why like the damage was so much from it.
Wow.
Well, that's a rough one, but
Yeah.
glad you got through that.
It was bad.
You're still getting through it. Actually, you had to wait for like periods of time before they could do the next step in the reconstructive process and things like that.
Yeah, and it had to be a dental injury. Jeez, I hate dentists. I mean, I told my dentist, honestly, I told him like, you're an evil doctor. That's what dentists are.
You enjoy pain. You enjoy inflicting pain, don't you?
Dentist.
Yeah. So Liano, explain what just happened with this delegation and election and things like that, and what that's about.
Sure. So this is actually the culmination of 40 years of work in the Democratic Party by progressives and our allies, where we have consistently pushed them to follow their rules more and more and more accurately. So, for example, in 2019, for the first time in decades, they used proportional voting at the state convention. For the first time in decades. And then this Saturday, for the first time in decades, they used proportional voting for DNC, Democratic National Committee delegates. And proportional voting means that if you have a group of voters that are, say, like 40%, for example, of the vote, then they will win approximately 40% of the representation. And that's the way that the Democratic Party's rules have always been written since the 60s, but they just weren't following the rules. So the fact that we were able to get them to follow the rules, and we were able to, and as a result of that, we were able to win 2 seats on the Democratic National Committee. That's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. There's only about 300 people on the Democratic National Committee, and it's you know, and on paper anyway, it's the governing body of the National Democratic Party.
Yeah, and with this, especially for Michigan, we got a lot of firsts because being progressive, so we got 2 people who are for Medicare for all, cannabis policies, and a lot of other things. So it was a major deal in more than one way.
Yeah, we're I mean, it's you know, first of all, it's a 4-year term, so we're in this position for 4 years, and we're going to have a real go at democratic reform in the Democratic Party. We've had a lot of success here in Michigan. In Michigan, we pushed through in the Michigan Democratic Party the largest package of rules reforms in state party history. We forced them to allow free registration online. I ran the NSL campaign for the party endorsement, where we beat the establishment candidate by 20 points in the popular vote and 10 points in the party equivalent of the Electoral College.
What kind of, I guess, power or position or capacity do the delegates exist in that can help influence these things? What's the role?
So for me, one of the things I'm going to be focusing on at the DNC is the primary process. So how do primaries primaries work? How do we determine who the winner of the primary is? Do we have super delegates? Do we not? I don't want super delegates, because super delegates are basically a way for the elite to say, yeah, we don't have to listen to anybody else. So we've got a lot of work to do. I mean, they have a problem with, for example, in the Democratic National Committee, they have a problem with at-large officers. There are 75 at-large officers that the chair basically just gets to appoint. So it's like if the leader in the Senate if the leader in the Senate on a majority vote got to just add as many senators as he wanted, or 75 senators. And that's a ridiculous kind of situation, but that's the way that the Democratic Party is run. In Michigan, in the equivalent in Michigan, they actually had 90 sometimes, 90 votes controlled by the chair. Those people owe their position specifically to the chair, and so they're going to be loyalists that are going to vote along with the chair. Otherwise, they're not getting their position again. So effectively that's what they're there for, is to do what the chair says.
Interesting. So like with the, we talked about the increased participation in the democratic process. And that might be one of the few things you could look back onto the Trump scenario and think that was a positive outcome. And maybe it sounds like these types of things you're saying, like firsts here and a return to what the rules are supposed to be. This is also a reflection of the additional participation maybe that's taking place. Utilizing these tools, participating in these processes.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. And actually, we're working on another recruitment drive right now. We're recruiting people to join the Democratic Party through. Actually, we've set up a website so that you can go there and join, and you won't get a bunch of the junk and stuff that the party sends you. We'll set you up with another
or all the money requests as well.
All the money requests, right? So, you can go to mysolidarity.org, and you can go there, and we'll set you up with a special email account that will handle all of your Democratic Party email, and then we'll also send you out alerts about where to about when and where that you need to vote. And we'll send out and if you want it, we'll send you a digest of what's going on in the Democratic Party every month. So, so this is what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do with mysolidarity.org is we're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone in Michigan to participate in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and that's appreciated because if you just go to the Democratic Party or just do some basic research and try to sign up. You can sign up without having to make a contribution if you don't want to, but you wouldn't know it. You'd have to like really dig deep on those pages in order to be able to figure that out. It seems like you can't escape at least making like a $4 or $5 contribution in order to sign up.
Yeah, that's one thing we learned during Dana Nussel campaign was that there was a lot of people who did not want to sign up because of the payment. So once we made it, once we showed them that there was a way to do it without having to pay and do monthly payments, they were like, okay, then they'll join. I mean, that's the change that we need, and get the ideas from the people about what change they are looking for to interact more and help facilitate the laws that work for the people.
Yeah, one of the key things that I want to point out right now is that coming up for the 2021 state convention, which is on February 20th, it's a virtual convention. So if you can join before January 20th, you can vote from the comfort of your own home. So we're really trying to put on a big push to get as many people as possible to join at mysolidarity.org and organize for the state convention to try to take a majority on the state central committee, because that will allow us to that will allow progressives to to stop them, well, first of all, stop them packing the State Central Committee, because the first meeting of the State Central Committee, they add 90 people to the committee. When the chair adds 90 people to the committee with a majority vote. So if they get the majority, they're adding 90 people, and we're not going to have very much power.
So these are things or issues or situations where the delegates vote on behalf of representation of the party, not the whole party, as we did for Dana Nessel, for example.
Right. No, right. No, that's exactly right. And on February 20th, the whole party, everybody is going to get to vote to elect delegates to the State Central Committee. Okay. And then those delegates, the very first meeting that they have, if the establishment has the majority, they will add about 90 extra people to that body that are effectively loyal to them. Okay. And if we take the majority, we won't do that.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Yeah, I just didn't quite catch that. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, what was that?
What was that, Jim?
What's the website again?
mysolidarity.org, mysolidarity.org.
Gotcha.
And then I also put it in the chat. But this, I just want to point out that the reason that Liano and I were able to be elected is because we had formed the other slate within the Michigan Democratic Party that got us representation to be able to get enough votes to make it to the DNC. And that was the Big Tent slate.
Yeah, that's right. So 2 years ago, we organized the Big Tent slate to run for the State Central Committee. So we had slates of people in all different congressional districts because they're elected by congressional district. So for example, I'm a State Central Committee member from Congressional District 12. There are others from other congressional districts. So,
yeah, and then I was from, I'm also a delegate from the 12th district for the Big Tent slate.
Right. Right. So the Big Tent slate was a big part of how we got here. And there's a lot of people on that we really need to thank, for their help and their participation. That's a great effort, and we need to continue with that, with those kinds of organizing efforts.
Yeah, and recruiting, especially progressives who care about the policy issues to help reform them. I mean, like we said, like this was a big deal just because it all came from, putting people inside the MDP and then forming that party, or forming that slate. That's what got us here. So it wasn't something that just happened this year. This has been like close to 4 years of work for us to be able to achieve this. And we achieved a lot of things with it, not just being two progressives to the DNC. Right now it's being checked, final check by the chair, but there's also the possibility that I might be the first Arab American Muslim to the DNC representing Michigan. And also we got two people who care a lot about cannabis policy also in a high position.
Absolutely. What's a discussion in that world? What influences or what things about cannabis are in the air that you would be a part of that, part of a discussion, if anything that's known at the moment?
Well, we could potentially put it in the next platform. That's one of the things that we could try to do.
Yeah, and we can form, I mean, like right now we have the Cannabis Caucus of the Michigan Democratic Party, and we can do the same at the national level and start recruiting people from every state to form a bigger coalition of people who will work on it.
Nice.
I'm not sure if there's a Cannabis Caucus in the DNC yet, but
well, that's definitely, yeah. I know there's a Cannabis Caucus. I just don't know if it's within the DNC. So that's definitely something that we could, try to facilitate or try to get going. Because the more people power we have within the DNC working on this, the better we will have, not just a bigger chance we will have to reform cannabis policies, but that we'll do it in a progressive way that's for the people.
Is there current language in the Democratic platform right now that involves cannabis?
I can't remember, to be perfectly honest. I haven't read their platform in several months.
Something that's been in there for a while about supporting medical marijuana, but it hasn't really been.
Yeah, I think it's just. Yeah, I think it's just the medical that they have, or just the research aspect, but they don't have like changing the laws or reforming anything.
But that's the thing that we're trying that we're talking about changing, because like for example, what happened in the Michigan party just a little while ago is we got a ton of stuff into the party platform just by keeping at it and keeping at it and keeping at it. This past platform, we put in universal single payer healthcare, even though the governor and our 2 senators are opposed to it, even though the president elect is opposed to it. We put in that we put in a provision to hold executives and shareholders liable for wage theft as the ultimate beneficiaries of the crime. We put in to abolish the Electoral College and reapportion the House and the Senate to ensure that everyone in the country has equal representation, no matter what state they live in. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we put into the into the platform here, and we want to try to do the same thing at the national level. And that I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you put it in the platform, it doesn't, but it moves the conversation. What we're trying to do is move the conversation, and at the same time have conversations with individual lawmakers and policy influencers to get them moving more in our direction, and building power along the way. You can, by the way, if you're interested, I have a piece up on MichiganProgressive.com that talks about the progress report. I wrote a progress report on what the political revolution in Michigan has accomplished in the Democratic Party over the last 4 years. So it's a lot of stuff. So you may find that interesting.
Very nice. So when's the next like convention, in which is it the February convention that you're talking about, in which everybody will have an opportunity to vote on the things that are at hand, and that includes sending people like you guys or more people with like-minded people into the central committee you refer to, and then you could effectuate more progressive ideas once inside of that. Yeah,
the more voting progressives we have within the party, the more change we're going to get at the national, even the state level, but especially to be able to get to the national level.
Yeah,
got it. Well, I hope that some of that energy that still exists that was around when there was a lot of support for Dana. Just the extra, the additional kind of participation for a lot of people who haven't been involved in a while are coming in, and they kind of can tip some of the numbers, and to fill in that kind of role and help bring people like you guys into those decision-making capacities. I really appreciate the work that you guys have done with that, especially since it was such an engineered strategy that you started a couple of years out in order to get to this point now.
Actually, when I first joined the party in 2016, December of 2016, I sketched out a plan, and I actually at that time I only gave us a 15% chance of getting on the DNC this cycle. I thought it would be next cycle before we'd have a majority chance, but we beat the odds on that this time around, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, and just to show how much of a difference it makes to just get progressives in there. Liano and I were only a few votes away from both making it. I mean, it wasn't like it was such a big thing. Like, a few votes really does make a difference in this instant. So as much bodies as we can get in there and onto the SCC, the more progressive policies we're able to implement and change.
That's right. We won by just under 3%. We got on by just under 3%, about 6 or 8 votes.
Well, I'm a current member for the purposes of being able to be involved with the Cannabis Caucus of the Democratic Party. So I'm available to vote for that, and I will, because you told me about it, and it's gonna be really easy online to do that. Now everybody from our caucus should be doing that, and everybody who's available, especially Berg.
I was gonna
especially Berg. Look at him.
I wanted to point out something I'm not sure many people know. The Michigan Democratic Party doesn't have that many members. We have a state with 10 million people. They only have 10,000 members. When we organized at the peak of our organization, when we're driving people into the party, we got the party membership up. This was just after the Dana campaign. We got party membership up to almost 20,000 people. And since then, the party has completely lost all of those new numbers. They're back down to about 10,000. And at a typical convention, at a typical state convention prior to the progressive movement, there's only about 2,500 people that show up. So in order to win, if we can turn out 5,000 progressives, we can win. As long as they're properly distributed across the state, because they split up the vote that way. It's a long story, but they split up the vote that way.
Yeah, there's a certain number of delegates allocated to each congressional district. Or is it county or congressional? I can't remember.
It's the intersection of counties. So it's counties within a congressional district. Each county within a congressional district gets a certain number of votes. And then if there's a part of a county, because the congressional districts can cross county line, can cross counties like that. If there's a part of a congressional district, then they get a certain amount as well. So.
Yeah, it's all like a lot of the things are confusing, and it's like, okay, but this is not the way it felt last time, or so there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of things that need to be clarified, even for the people on the inside who do the voting, just because of the way they have it set up.
Yeah, but it's also the case that the vast majority of people in the party have no idea what the rules are. For example, last year. We made a push to try to get them to change this thing that they were doing that was very undemocratic. So long story exactly what, but their response to that was the establishment tried to institute a recording ban. They tried to institute a ban on any kind of audio or visual recording at any party meeting unless you got the written permission from the state party chair, which is just like, authoritarian bullshit. But the leaders of the establishment who tried to do that didn't know the rules for how you actually make an amendment to the rules. And it's simple and straightforward. Okay, they didn't know, they didn't bother to look.
So the processes and the participation just kind of devolved over time, and like these things became kind of stagnant, and we're just running through on a minimally functional basis.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
Kind of reviving some of these things. Sounds
right.
like more participation, more interest.
Right. When I first came into the party, I thought that they all knew. I thought that they understood the rules and that they knew what they were doing, and that they knew that what they were doing was wrong and anti-democratic. And there are a few people who do. There are very few people within the party who actually know that these things are wrong. And you notice that because when you push them on it, they give you cover your ass kind of excuses, or whataboutisms, like what about this guy that did that, and what about that guy, and so those few people, they know what's going on. They know that they're abusing their power and breaking the rules and using that as an excuse to retain the power that they have and give themselves more power than they could ever win in a fair democratic election.
Yeah, seems to be a good encapsulation of how that works. Like the gerrymandering stuff definitely got embedded and did its thing for a long time, and hopefully we start pulling away from that and seeing some more reflection of what the constituency in a particular area really does want in direction.
Yeah, I think once we get all the districts, like take away all the gerrymandered districts and split them up the way that they should be, I think we'll see a lot of changes in places.
Yeah, about gerrymandering, by the way, we have gerrymandering in the Michigan Democratic Party. It's even worse than the regular gerrymandering that you have, because it's gerrymandering and they never show you the maps. Can you imagine we're trying to run an election, we're trying to recruit people, and we don't know what the maps look like, so we don't know how many people have to be from which place on the map.
Politics.
Yeah. So that's it's hilarious to me that they're all out there saying, oh, we need to get rid of gerrymandering and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, right here, we could get rid of gerrymandering right here in the Democratic Party, but
So like, to be clear about people here, we're talking about Democratic Party, we're talking about support for the Democratic Party and utilizing the Democratic Party, but we're also talking about people in a movement who don't like the status quo of the established Democratic Party right now, are looking to change it. So
Exactly.
there are still lots of criticisms about it while this discussion and this process plays out.
Right.
Yeah, we need to make it, for the people, the laws that benefit the people, and not just the ones in charge, basically.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason that we had so much trouble. This past election, for example, Trump lost, but Biden didn't win. Two-thirds of the people that voted for him told exit pollsters that they didn't vote for him; they voted against Trump. Okay. And he had no coattails.
There's nothing new about that scenario, though, right? People,
Right.
realize one of these two people are going to win, so I'm going to vote.
Yeah, but this one, I think the reason Biden got so many votes is because there was a lot of people who, in a regular election, or if we didn't have somebody like Trump, they would not have voted for him either.
Well, as demonstrated the last election.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think once we get rid of the electoral college, that's one thing that I'm hoping we'll be able to get rid of. It's going to take years, but that will definitely make the elections better for the people.
And that's not. I think a lot of people realize that we're better off possibly without the electoral college. I like the idea of one person, one vote, but that process is not easy, and a lot of people don't think it's likely ever to change.
There's a couple of interesting ideas about how to do it. There's the interstate compact on the popular vote, I think it's called, where you've got a number of states that have passed a law that says that when there are states representing 270 electoral votes, so enough to win, that pass a similar law, then all of the states' electoral votes will go to the winner of the popular vote. So
it's interesting.
States individually get to decide how they allocate their votes, so they can do that. There's nothing in the Constitution to stop them.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Any insights? I know we've talked about Georgia here a few times. Anything particularly different than what's known at large about what to expect in Georgia next month?
Not really. I think that it's likely that the Democrats will come close, and probably there's a good possibility they may split it. They may take one and lose one. It's a low possibility that they'll do better than that.
Yeah, but because I phone and text bank for the Georgia elections almost daily, so there's a lot of people who are in support, and there's a lot of people who kind of don't even want to vote anymore, just because of the way things are. But yeah, I do think that we're going to get at least one of the senators, and it's just whether we get both of them to get the majority or split it in half.
Right, and it's in the weird things. You have a faction of the party that's telling other voters within the party that it's a sham and not to even participate, and then that's coming off of efforts by Stacey Abrams and others to get more people out voting who have not over the past few years. And if that momentum can keep going, and other people decide not to show up, maybe that combination helps out in the one race that seems like it's kind of too far apart.
Hopefully. Right now, a lot of the Republican or a lot of the opposition to the two senators is that they're like, oh no, that the vote doesn't count, or there's no reason to vote. So hopefully they all stay home. I'm okay with all of them. We're gonna just stay home. Fine. You guys think it's gonna be rigged? Okay, stay home. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. But we have to be realistic, and it's not likely that we can't count on winning both seats. That's for sure.
Right.
And then a lot of people still think that the vote by mail is a scam in itself. So they're like, that's not something that they're going to do.
Which is, I mean, one of many stupid things that seems to be readily believed, just from somebody throwing it out there to help further confuse the discussion and what's actually going on with the electoral process. And like, I think it was on last week tonight or whatever, when they were showing the people showing up in Detroit and telling them to stop the count. And they show the same like supporters for Trump showing up in Arizona and telling them to keep the count going. So just whatever it takes to win.
All throughout the country, it was like that.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Zoe Deschanel and Will Ferrell are doing a reading of Elf and collecting donations for the runoff in Georgia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Man, I hope some of those efforts tip the scales and miraculously those 2 seats are won. That would really help.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so, because I need a break from phone banking and text banking.
You do so much. We talked about that earlier, and there's just, as we're talking, you throw in, oh yeah, I'm also this, and I'm also the delegate of the 12-3.
But
so the short list to get started, and more things keep on coming out as we talk. So thanks for all your work, Zahra. You do so much for so many issues and so many people in so many ways with so many groups and organizations.
And you do it with a smile on your face all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Much
guys.
appreciated.
Definitely.
So let me see. Man, might be running out of a little bit of steam here today. City of now, related, not related, City of Detroit's going to be issuing licenses by spring next year?
Yeah.
The estimation.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Well, they have a revolutionary applications process that's going to try to give businesses to people from historically disaffected communities by the war on drugs by using legacy Detroiters, a new definition that they've come up with, and give them a unique and exclusive round of application to go through, which is potentially litigious. And then they're also going to limit the number of licenses available to people that are not legacy Detroiters, which is also potentially litigious. What we all learned in cannabis law reform is sometimes in order to make progress, you got to withstand a couple of lawsuits. We got sued as Am I Legalized? Deborah Young got sued when she tried to do petitioning in local communities, and Tim Beck was sued in Detroit when they tried to do that too. Sometimes you have to go this route. Perhaps Detroit may have the magic formula. Who knows? I would love to see that successful with social equity.
Yeah, for sure.
And in my interview with Director Brisboe last Wednesday, he certainly said that social equity would be something that they were focusing on in 2021, and also that was one of the big topics that they talked about between the other state administrators of cannabis programs in that Cannabis Regulators Association.
Yes, so we've had Collexium on the show. We had Latoya, and her partner Rebecca was recently who helped out a lot with the process in Detroit for getting the ordinance ready and up and running. Just won a board seat on the National Cannabis Industry Association board. We acknowledged that yesterday, and that's kind of a cool thing. There are some things going on as far as that goes, but it is, as Rick pointed out, they're going to have to smooth out some wrinkles before it can really do its thing. But we had Sam Perkin on here not too long ago, and we brought up that there was a situation in Ipsy where the Annie Somerville and others tried to give some teeth or some extra weight to some social equity kind of scenarios, and he wasn't really happy with all that. And I understand why. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Andrew Brisboe and others are being asked to do more, try to bring more stuff in to it. But this Detroit one, after the wrinkles are smoothed out, it's an attempt at really trying to help some people out and lift some people that have not had these opportunities. And I really like to support, success there, and hope that encourages other places to take as bold or as aggressive steps. That's the only way it's going to get done. The locals have to really get involved and help us get through. And I hope it doesn't. Sorry, go ahead, Rick. Major
metropolitan cities across the United States are struggling with the same problem. And if if Detroit strikes a successful program, then it could serve as the role model for all of those others. You know, you're going all the way from the tip of Florida all the way up into Alaska, out to Hawaii, to the farthest reaches of Maine. Everybody is struggling with how do we represent and how do we make sure that we're inclusive of people, especially people in communities of color that were traditionally predated upon and targeted over aggressively during the war on drugs in a racist systematic methodology to suppress that particular group of people.
I don't know if the funding thing is
urban
going to turn
centers
out.
were targeted.
Yep. And I don't know if the funding thing's going to turn out to be an issue and devolve the program a little bit, because I'm concerned that there's a lot of people, without there being some type of less strings attached, kind of a scenario for funding for some people who have the opportunity to otherwise qualify for a license. Some of the source of funding could be from very people who are not necessarily interested in helping to support further in this industry, in order to make something happen. And while I think majority, I think is part of the formula, I don't like that potential influence that could result from these people that are more interested in taking advantage of the situation than helping to support the social equity side of it.
Worried that legacy Detroiters are going to be taken advantage of by predatory business persons that come in, see a prime market like Detroit, know the only way they can get in is to partner with a person of color, and then once a business is established and things are going pretty well, they just sort of wedge that particular person of color out of the picture. Yeah, that's a real concern.
Yeah, exactly. Some type of leverage, some type of scenario, and take advantage, right?
Yeah, I'm
concerned about that. I'd like to see the city also set up some way of some funding source where everything has to be paid back, maybe low interest stuff, easier terms, something to help people really get lifted instead of having to succumb to one of these situations because there isn't any other easy source of funds.
But they've offered not only discounted on application fees, but also discounts on city-owned properties as well. So if you're able to utilize a city-owned property that's zoned correctly, that's fine. But oftentimes those city-owned properties require a lot of upkeep in order to bring them up to code.
And it's so expensive. You can cut out a few chunks and still be left with some challenging, amounts of money to have to come up with. So I like we're heading in the right direction, but as most of these things, we can talk about a lot of improvements that still need to be made.
I mean, I'm hoping if things go okay in Detroit and that we'll be able to utilize that, like this is how Detroit did things, and start incorporating or start showing that, like, they legalized it or they have it available and there's not the problems that you guys are saying, so we can get cities like Dearborn Heights and other places to opt in.
Yeah, and help out groups of people who haven't had these types of opportunities. This is an emerging industry, a brand new thing. We can do whatever we want to with it coming out of the gates, and a lot of us agree that's one good thing to do with it. Go ahead, Zahra.
Oh no, I was telling Colin that we should start working on a petition for one of maybe next year or something to get Dearborn to opt in.
Right on. So we are kind of winding down with time and energy and everything. I know I can speak for myself on that anyway.
Because you haven't had any cannabis.
That's true, and I'm kind of anxious to get out and get to a situation where I can more comfortably consume lots of cannabis off of this particular parcel. So Zahra, do you have anything else you want to just leave us with? Anything? Final words?
Just for I put the name of our website in the chat. If you guys can check it out, and anybody who wants to join the party, use that link to join it, and then let us know if you have any questions.
mysolidarity.org. Liano, any final thoughts?
We have a golden opportunity over the next basically 65 days to organize a bunch of people and turn them out to the state central to the state convention and take a majority on the state central committee, and that is huge. that is huge. I'm not sure that any other progressive movement has taken the majority on their state central committee, though they've made progress as we have. But we have a real shot to do that because of the fact that it's virtual and because of the fact that that we've got that time to recruit people. So everybody that's the least bit interested, we need 5 minutes of your time right now to sign up, and while it's virtual, about an hour one day a year. 5 minutes now, an hour, 1 day a year to vote. If that's the level of participation you want to have, that's great. We want you.
You don't even have to battle a snowstorm to get to Cobo Hall or whatever it's called now, TCF Arena or whatever.
Right.
To vote. You just do it on Zoom this year.
Isn't it THC Arena?
If we take this
THC Arena. Yeah.
It is.
If we take the majority,
It's always going to be Cobo.
if we take the majority,
It's a beautiful air conditioned THC Arena.
we can change it. We can make it permanently virtual.
Yeah, or at least have a virtual angle while whoever wants to attend in person can do so. That's another thing we can try to do.
Right, at least you can just choose to do it like that. So, Liano, I was on one of your podcasts a couple of years ago. Is that still going on? Are you still working in that area?
That podcast is still going on. That's the State of the Revolution podcast. That's actually I'm not running it anymore. My buddy Benjamin Ben is running it and doing a great job. Some of the other people that worked on the DNC election project that we just finished are also hosts on that show. So yeah, they do a lot of good stuff.
So a lot of us here, as we're signing off, are going to talk about other shows because we have many in Michigan, the community, and we're involved in these other ones. I glanced at some of the comments. One was that I don't think anybody's monitoring these comments, and another was that reminding us that John Sinclair's show is up to like nearly 900 episodes. So whenever we talk about these things, just know he's the king, no matter what, which is true. So I think Planet Green Trees 8 o'clock on Thursdays is in the 490s right now, and I don't just take a guess at Jazz Cabbage. I don't really care what it is, but I would say it's 130, 140, something like that.
No, it's more than that because I've got 123 episodes on YouTube already, and that's not even including 2019.
Okay, so we got a nice little chunk here too, and then Medical Mondays is one of the really long-running cannabis podcasts that predates Berg. He took over at one point. He's kept it going. That's like right behind Planet Green Trees, really, from my recollection. Berg, anything to leave us with?
Not really. I'm pretty high right now.
That's important for everybody to know.
Medical Mondays, every Monday, 9 p.m. on YouTube, Medical Mondays podcast.
That's what I was teeing you up for. There you go. Hey, Colin? He's digging into the long one. Oh, man, the suspense. Jim, anything you need to leave us with?
I just want to say thanks, Zahra and Liano, for all you're doing. That's kind of stuff that we need for the cannabis movement to keep continually going forward. And like all these things, we just have to keep on pushing the envelope. Like even for, this is such a minor thing, but being able to refrigerate your edibles, I think is something that we got to be pushing next year in 2021 for other things, obviously, expungements and whatnot. But just keep on pushing the things that we want good change for in cannabis while they're trying to take them away. And hopefully we, get those better changes to supersede what they're trying to take away. That's all I got.
Rick.
Of course, love Medical Mondays. The Jazz Cabbage Café is near and dear to my heart. I also do 420 posts on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. We mentioned it a couple times this show. Last Wednesday we had Director Brisboe on. I know Ryan with Smoke and Rope is going to have Director Brisboe on again tomorrow as well. We've got a representative of the Bay Mills Indian community coming on tomorrow who'll be talking about her outlook for 2021, as well as an institutional look at what colleges and universities can do to help advance cannabis in Michigan. She's formerly from the Lake Superior State University cannabis program up there. So interesting dialogue, interesting stuff. That's the beauty of being able to network amongst us, is that without any competition, we're all cooperatively promoting each other's programs and bonuses. So good for us.
I remember when Stephanie was interning with the Midwest Cultivator, one of the first newspapers, cannabis newspapers in Michigan years ago.
Yep. The other thing is that we talked about with Ryan Basore today. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on the show. December 17th, in a couple days, we'll have that result of the parole board hearing for Michael Thompson. That's very significant as far as I'm concerned. Now that Richard DeLisi in Florida was released as a cannabis prisoner due to COVID, I believe Mr. Thompson is the longest serving cannabis prisoner in the United States of America. Last Prisoner Project made accuse me of that, but I think it's true. So we have our marching orders ahead of us, and 2021 is going to involve a lot of actions for everybody, so stay ready. Keep your powder dry and your eyes sharp.
And leave you with a bunch of people hovering over cannabis at a legal store in Michigan.
Beautiful.
Man, it was draining. The whole team had to work hard to put this together, but it's really nice to see the store in operation right now. It's a credit reward for a lot of hard work here. Go ahead, Zahra. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying hopefully I'll be able to come visit that one day.
That'd be great. And Kalkaska is next. So thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back on track. We'll do like a year in review thing next week and recount major events from this last year. And there's many of them, many weird things and important things that took place. And we'll go through that list. And next year, this show evolves a little bit. We're going to have some extra production and sponsors and stuff like that too. So look forward to that new approach, which will basically be this show, but with a couple extra little flashy details added on. So, all right, everybody, thanks a lot. Had another great show and appreciate everybody's involvement. And we'll be back next week, Jazz Cabbage Cafe. See you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.